Hello, my name's Onno and I'm the developer for R6 Analyst. Exactly 1 year ago today, the app first launched on the Overwolf App Store, and in order to celebrate, I thought I'd create this questions and answers video. It's been a wild ride to see the app grow from a small hobby project that I started, at the start of self-quarantine in my country, to now, last week, us surpassing 100,000 downloads. That's insane. So I posted the question on the R6 Analyst Discord. Hey, what sort of questions would you like to see answered in a Q&A video? And I got a fair number of responses, so let's just go through those today and see how far we get. Let's get started. First question is from Business Chimp, and he asks, is the favorite operator section of the app based on ranked or overall? I have Alibi show up as one of my favorites, even though I have played her much in ranked. Even though I haven't played her much in ranked. Is there a way to change it to just ranked? That's a very good question. It's a bit more complicated of an answer than you might think. I do need to explain a little bit of how the app works and where it gets its data from. So let's start with that. Basically, let's talk about the middle section first. The app is the part that I built, right? It collects data from different sources and it generates information out of that. And it stores that, and you can view that in different kinds of dashboards. You can view it over time and learn from that. Where it gets its data is from two different sources. On the one hand, you have the Overwolf integration. That's from Overwolf. It provides real-time data, so it can track in the game when a kill happens, when a death happens, what sort of operator you're playing, what map you're in, what round you're in, all that stuff. It's very detailed, and it's in real time. On the other side, you have Ubisoft's API. That's more overarching account data, right? What's your MMR? What's your level? What's your profile picture? And all your operator use data as well, but very high level. Basically, just kills, deaths, wins, and losses. So the advantage of Overwolf is it's very detailed. You can have everything like per game mode, per map, per round, KOST, SRV, all that stuff my app can calculate. But the disadvantage is the app needs to be running in order to collect this data, right? It's only in real time. You cannot go back in time and view earlier data. Ubisoft's the exact opposite, really. It has everything, it tracks everything, so it's a full data set, so even if there's no app running, it still knows everything. But the disadvantage is there's very little detail, and you have no idea if an operator was used in ranked or unranked, casual, whatever. And you basically get, okay, you played, 2,000 rounds with Lesion, and you got 2,300 kills, and that's it. Whereas in my app, it might know, okay, well, you tracked 200 maps, and of those 200 maps, you played Lesion in 50% of those maps, and usually on this particular map, like Clubhouse, and you got a KOST of this, etc. Much more detailed, but fewer rounds tracked, right? So to get back to your question, is the favorite operator section of the app based on ranked or overall? It kind of depends on which section of the app you're talking about. So if we're talking about the section over here in the widget, that pulls the data from the Overwolf integration. So it's really detailed, and this is very precise. So this is data for the season, but you can get it for just this week or just yesterday, etc. But if you're more talking about the stuff in the Enhanced Scoreboard, this is account stats. So this is data pulled from Ubisoft, so it includes everything, right? And the advantage of that is it can go back in time and see all the matches played even if the app wasn't running, right? So for example, maybe SH107, right? He's not running my app, but I still know all the operator preferences. The disadvantage is I have no details on it, so I don't know if it was ranked, unranked, casual, whatever. That's basically it in a nutshell. So the answer is no. You cannot choose. It should just be ranked, and it does check everything. It depends on what you're talking about in terms of whether it's split into ranked or not. Next question. Capcan asks, what is the formula you use to calculate match rating in the Enhanced Scoreboard? I know it's inspired by Siege.gg Pro League rating, but what exactly did you use? Is it similar or the same as Reaper's reverse engineered one? Yes, it is. It is exactly Reaper Ian's reverse engineered Siege.gg pro regrading. Um, he did a great job reverse engineering it, and it got very close. I think it got to like 0.08 of what Siege.gg uses, which is about as good as you can get, I think. So yeah, I basically use exactly the same one that Reaper Ian does. I have his permission to use it. If you don't know what we're talking about, I put a link in the description below. Watch that video; it's very interesting. And yeah, it's basically how I calculate the rating. I made some small adjustments in order to calculate a rating across multiple matches as opposed to just one match, or other way around, uh, on just one single match as opposed to multiple matches, the way Siege.gg does it. Next question by Hitch Slaps. Please tell us about yourself. What country and city do you live in? Your age, marital status, what games do you like to play, etc., etc. Okay, I'm from the Netherlands. I live near Rotterdam, which is one of the largest cities in the Netherlands and one of the largest like ports in the world. I am 31 years old. I'm happily single. I have a master's degree in business information management, a minor in computer sciences. Um, Basically, I spend my day either working at a company that I own together with a friend, which has been very successful and allows me plenty of free time as well to work on other projects, one of which is R6 Analyst. In terms of video games, I mostly play Siege, to be honest. I do really like board games. I play a lot of board games with friends, like I have a standing appointment every week. Obviously, at the moment, due to COVID-19, all of that's online, but generally we have a fun time playing together around the same table. I listen to all kinds of music, from pop to like musicals, from jazz to video game soundtracks. Siege soundtrack is really good for programming too. If you should really try that out if you haven't. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I answered most of that. Let's move on. Next question. How long do you spend on the app per week? What are your main tech challenges right now? This was asked by Science. It differs a lot from day to day, week to week, how much time I get to spend on it. Like I said, I have other jobs, one of which is running a company. So yeah, depending on what goes on over there, it gives me more or less time to work on the app. I'd say on average I work about 3 to 4 hours per day on the app, so a significant amount. I expect this number to climb even more soon. So yeah, you'll see more updates rolling out hopefully. In terms of main tech challenges, um, the main challenges right now aren't really tech related. I have a lot of ideas I want to implement. I just have to go like through them one by one and prioritize what I want to do next. There's a couple of features that I want to implement that require input from Overwolf. For example, a tracking drone economy. That's a really big one for me that I really want to start doing, but it requires input from Overwolf. So yeah, I'm writing like feature requests to them, trying to educate them on why it's important, stuff like that. I think the main challenge overall that I face with the app is UI design. So I have a lot of data and I have a lot of information, but being able to provide that in a way that's like intuitive and understandable for the average person is quite complicated. Like most of the like really analytical people, players on Siege that are, for example, analysts in Pro League, they jump into Excel, right? But I don't want my app to look like Excel. I want my app to be more approachable than that. So UI design is a big challenge, and definitely not one of my strongest suits. So yeah, it's fun to work on and try and improve myself. Next question. Space Junk asks, what influenced you to get into coding? What are your main tech challenges right now? Um, I mean, I've been coding all my life, man. Like, I remember modding games when I was 11. So, yeah, I've been programming for as long as I can remember, really. I grew up in the Windows DOS era, so like I feel quite at home in a shell console. So, yeah. Um, I'm self-taught, like I didn't have any um, official education in programming other than a minor in computer sciences, even though that was, more focused on the management side of stuff. Um, I just really like how it's very logical, and if it tells you when you made a mistake and how to fix it if you just Google it. It's very straightforward, I guess. It's very complicated but very straightforward. I like that. Next question. What do you think of them taking off Mira and Lesion's 1.5x after just giving it to them? I'm still devastated as I only like playing Mira because of it. That's asked by Abyss. I actually looked into it because I hadn't heard of this at all, so I tried to find out where you got this from, and I can't find it anywhere. As far as I can tell, it's not in any of the patch notes, it's not in the designer notes, it's not in the balancing notes. I don't think this is actually going to happen. I'm not sure where you're getting this from. Um, but for the sake of argument, let's say this is happening. So my opinion on it, I don't think it's going to change much in terms of actual operator picks. Lesion is quite present, but his win rate is exactly where it should be. And the opposite is true for Mira. Like obviously she's very present when she is not banned. Um, but yeah, I don't think her getting banned so much is part of her sight, her gun sight. Looking at the win deltas, as you can tell, like Lesion, his presence is high, but his win delta is pretty much where it should be. Like, I think he's in a really good spot. I don't think they should, try and change it at all. I really like using the 1.5 on Lesion. In terms of Mira, I think she's in a really good spot, right? She's one of the most balanced operators if you look at this, other than the fact that she's constantly banned because, yeah, she's very meta defining. But all of that has to do with her gadget, not with her weapon. Ban rates, right? I think a good indicator of how quote unquote annoying an operator is to play against. Lesion doesn't show up at all here, which uh, means probably he's not that bad of an operator. Um, Mira, obviously most banned operator, but again, I think that's due to her gadget, not her weapon. So, all in all, I doubt this is really happening. If it is, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't use the 1.5 on Mira at all anyway, to be honest. I'd hate to lose it for Lesion, but I'll get over it. Next question. Do you think nerfing Jäger's gun will do anything to his pick rate? This was asked by Gaming Goku. Yes and no. I do think his pick rate will go down very slightly, but I doubt it will have the effect that Ubisoft is looking for. I don't think Jaeger's high pick rate is a balancing issue. I think it's a player behavior issue. He's getting picked a lot as like a comfort pick. People know how to play him and they like his gun. And it's sad to say, but the average player is too lazy to learn new operators and try different things. I think if Ubisoft were to disable Jaeger completely for a week or two, allow all the Jaeger mains to have to play different operators, find new people that they like playing, new gadgets to control. Run around in Vigil, Melusi, very similar to Jaeger in terms of actual playstyle. After 2 weeks, turn Jaeger back on, same exact loadout. Probably his pick rate will be down a little bit. So in the end, I don't think the change to his weapon will do much. Uh, I don't think it's a bad idea either. Um, yeah, Jaeger's presence is just way too high, regardless of whether that's a problem or not in the game. Um, different playing different operators is a lot of fun, and I think trying to motivate people to do that is good at the end of the day for the game, for the health of the game. Um, yeah, of course, Ubisoft won't actually disable Jaeger for 2 weeks. That'd be insane. It was just an example. Next question by Storex. Do you want your app to become an official part of the game and maybe become a Ubisoft employee? Yes and no. I think parts of the app would be absolutely amazing to have in game. For example, the Enhanced Scoreboard showing the KOST, the SRV, these like very important stats that give a much better indication of the performance of a player. I think that should absolutely be in the game, and I wouldn't be mad at all if they just crib that off of my app and put it in the game. I think that would be a great experience. Same for majority of like the reports and dashboards that the app does, where it shows your performance per operator, maybe gives even some recommendations of what you can change or do better. I think having that in the game would give so much more like people would keep playing for longer. I think because it's like a gamification way of trying to improve. Much more than just the rank, which is the only real performance indicator at the moment, like a long-term performance indicator. So that part, yes, I would love it if some of the features of the app became part of the game. Would I want to work for Ubisoft? I don't think so. It's a very big company. It has a lot of managerial layers. You know, you have like budgeting meetings and all these decisions going on that are over your head. You probably can't work on what you actually want to work on. Um, yeah, like I'm so grateful that I'm able to dodge all of those meetings and all that sort of crap because I work for myself. Like I own my own company, and I definitely wouldn't want to change that and all of a sudden work for Ubisoft. I don't think I would be happy there. Next question by Kill. Can you go more in depth about how smart ban works? It seems nonsensical compared to target banning or regular meta banning. Excellent question. Yeah, okay. Um, Smart bans. Yeah, basically you have a couple different types of information that you can get from the smart band system, right? You get smart band, target bands, etc. Target bands you find sensical apparently, that's good, and the smart bands are difficult to understand. Basically, it takes the operator use data for both teams, compares them to each other, and tries to find operators that the enemy team uses more effectively or plays more than your team. Sometimes that happens, and ideally then it's a high value ban. Other times it doesn't happen. There's a bug right now in the app where high value ban, the indicator, shows up constantly. That'll be fixed with the next version, which will come out either today or tomorrow. Um, Generally though, this is an ideal smart ban that we're seeing here, right? Valkyrie, my team barely plays it, and when we play it, we're not very good at it. The enemy team plays a lot of Valkyrie, and when they play it, they win a lot with Valkyrie. So this would be an ideal operator to ban, where it doesn't really inconvenience our team, and it inconveniences our enemy team a lot. This is like the ideal situation. Generally, it's much more nuanced than that, and it can be quite messy and complicated when, for example, one player on your team is like a really good Valkyrie main, and then all 5 players on the enemy team are kind of with Valkyrie. Then is it a good ban or is it not a good ban? Um, so the app has an algorithm in the backend on the server side where it looks at everybody's data and then tries and compares them and tries and come up with a score for each operator, saying, okay, this is how much of a value this ban would be for this exact match. Now, how that algorithm exactly calculates stuff is it's changeable in the settings. You can actually go into the settings and decide, okay, how much you want your own team's preferences to be influenced. How much do you want, the individual skill levels for each of the enemy team players be influencing the value of these bands, all that stuff. So if it's nonsensical to you right now, either you put the settings in a nonsensical manner, or you haven't looked at the settings, so you don't know how it's calculating the things it's calculating. I would definitely look into the settings if you haven't already, and maybe that can help clear things up. Having said that, I wouldn't really put too much stock into smart bans. Like if you're banning target banning or you're banning, by the meta, those are probably more valuable bans, right? If you're banning Thatcher because your team's strats, defense strats, assume that Thatcher is banned, then keep doing that. Like, don't ban something just because the app tells you to. It's first of all, it's a team effort, right? And second of all, at the end of the day, what you ban has a lot of influence on what you can play as well. I would say just use the information the app provides, right? Looking at the actual 3 operator mains on attack and defense for the enemy team, looking at how their operator use differs from the average operator use, and then having the actual, the most banned operators, um, and how they stack up against each other. That's the information you want to be looking at. It's condensed into the smart bands, but then the smart bands they're smart in terms of looking at all the data. They're not smart in knowing what you want, right? So that's the difference. Next question. This was asked by NacoFox14 and also by Ophir, asked a very similar question. Why haven't you added a feature to see what the squad layout is in game? Like who is squatted with who? So you're talking about queuing, right? So is it a 2 stack, a 3 stack, and who's queuing with whom? R6 tab, another Overwolf app, has this feature. Um, I honestly have no idea how they do that, and they aren't sharing. And to be fair, I don't want to like steal their work either. That's like a unique feature that they have, same as that I have a couple of unique features that they're not really doing. So the straight up answer is I don't know how to implement it, and even if I did, I don't want to just go stealing from R6 tab because they're my friends. Like I actually talk to them. They're nice people. They help me out from time to time. So yeah, um, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. By Deathstroke. Assuming the app, specifically the servers, funded itself magically, would you make it open source or would you try to make money from the project? I mean, I spend a lot of time on the app, and part of the reason I can do that is because I make money off of it. Um, I could definitely make more money somewhere else, but I like doing this, so that's why I keep doing it. The reason the app isn't open source isn't because I'm scared of losing income. It's because it would make it much easier to try and mess with my servers and my API. There's already about one attack a week on my servers, and I'm loath to have that increase because I open source the app and expose all the API endpoints that it's using, as an example. Um, so yeah, would I try to make money from the project? I already am. Um, but I'm happy with the current level. Like I'm not adding more ads or doing anything crazy. I think the level it's at right now is perfect. And if you don't like the ads, you can purchase a very small amount, um, a monthly fee to get rid of the ads. I think it's really fair as it is at the moment. Next question by Kasari. What's your experience with the game? Have you played, coached, analyzed comp yourself? Um, Not really comp, no. I definitely like playing in a team. Um, I have like a solid, reliable 5 stack that I queue up with, and we enjoy playing together. Running a bit of strats. We have agreed upon roles, stuff like that. Mostly though, we just play ranked, um, and sometimes scrims just for fun. We do try to improve as a team. Generally, we play around like Plat 2 MMR mostly. Building this app has given me access to talking to a lot of like major pro league teams, challenger league teams, the analysts and players of those teams, and I've learned a lot from them in terms of statistics and what they track and why they track it and what they're trying to learn from that, and that's been really cool. It's been a great experience, and it has definitely informed the app, and I hope to keep doing that in the future as well. Um, Actually, I'm hoping the app will pivot more into like a coaching role as opposed to more just tracking and information providing that's doing right now. I will get more into that in the next development roadmap, which I'll write in another week or two. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that a lot. Next question by Deathstroke. How do you use the app? Like, what are your settings? Do you use a second screen for it? Okay, I really like this question. Um, I don't use the second screen. I have 3 monitors actually, but I don't generally have the second screen on. One is for Discord, then one is for the game, and the other one I generally turn off the side monitors when I'm actually really focusing on the game. And if I'm not really focusing on the game, I have Spotify on my other monitor, trying to play some fun music. Obviously, I generally use every other feature of the app. The Enhanced Scoreboard I really like, keeps track of my performance. In the match, it doesn't really inform my decisions. Obviously, I do like that it tracks it over time, so I can see my how my skill improves over time. I really use the banning system. Similar to the earlier question about smart bans, I look at the smart bans but don't really make a decision based on that. I generally either try and go for a target ban or actually go through the data provided and see if I can come up with either something to exploit or not just in terms of bans but also like okay, they're playing a lot of Amaru, might be a good idea to for the first round of the match, um, be very aware of that and see if we can get a free kill by pre-fire windows or whatever. Um, yeah, like I said, in terms of like the tracking stats over time, I use that to try and improve. I really like the operator stats tracking. For in the last month or so, I've looked more into that and see, okay, which for each operator, which maps are they working on and which not, and I've stopped playing, for example, I don't know, Iana on Clubhouse, or I started playing Thermite instead of Ace on Oregon. You know, decisions like that where over time, if you track enough rounds, the data is just straight up giving you the answer like, hey, you're performing better with Thermite than you are with Ace on a particular map. I like that, and that's how I use that part of the app, and that's also sort of what I'm going for next in terms of adding new dashboards. I'll talk about that more in a week or two. Next question by Shadowman. Will Overwolf ever get native game event SDK support for R6 Siege? We're getting more technical. Um, the question is, I don't know. Um, on the one hand, I would say I doubt that that will happen because it would mean the game developers at Ubisoft will have to actually go into the source code for the game and add official Overwolf support. There, it's an older game, so why would Ubisoft bother with that? On the other hand, Ubisoft did just invest a fair chunk of money into Overwolf, so they're clearly interested in having a long-term relationship with Overwolf. If you don't know about that investment, another link in the description. It's like a press release that shares everything about that investment. It's not just Ubisoft investing, but they're definitely a part of it. Um, I don't work for Overwolf directly, right? I just make an app on their platform, so I don't know the exact specifics of what's going on, but I do know that Ubisoft and Overwolf have a little bit of a closer conversation than they had before. Um, I highly doubt that it'll mean official SDK support, though. For everybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, generally, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is probably what happens is when the game gets a new update, the Overwolf integration will keep breaking for a day or two while Overwolf tries to fix it. What Shadowman's asking is basically, hey, can we make this more stable? And the answer is probably not. Next question by Gaming Goku. Do you think the Deagle should destroy hatches because of its massive round size? I like that. I think it's a fun idea. I wouldn't be mad at all if that was the case. I doubt Ubisoft will do it though. For the past year or so, they've been working more towards reducing the number of hidden things, the hidden interactions that are in the game. Stuff like Sophia's withstand or Echo's immunity to Dokubi. The things that are not immediately obvious and that you have to kind of learn over time, they're reducing those from the game. Um, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good design philosophy. And making one pistol able to open hatches is a step in the wrong direction for that design philosophy. So I doubt Ubisoft will do it. Um, I think it'd be fun though. Next question by Deathstroke. Which R6 meta did you find most enjoyable? Example, the utility meta, the mute Mozzie meta, etc. I'm an old man. My reflexes, hand-eye coordination is not what it used to be, so I'm lagging behind in that regard. So during the utility meta, I had a lot of fun. Like I played Wamai behind my shield, 2.5 minutes of just being a thorn in the side of the enemy. Um, I enjoyed how during the utility meta you could win a round in the setup phase, right? You could have such a good defense strategy in terms of utility placement that you could just straight up win based on that. And mechanical skill didn't come into it. I really like that. I like the strategical mindset of that. However, I've truly really been enjoying the current meta as well. It's really been challenging me to improve on my mechanical skills and to really ratchet up the aggression on attack, which has been quite freeing because before I was always the guy trying to stay alive for his utility, right? I still need to breach the wall, I still need to drone people in, stuff like that. And now I can just play Zofia and YOLO into sight. Um, and I really, in the current meta, I really like the diversity of operators that you can bring that are viable. It's like it's a breath of fresh air um, to see such a diversity of operators being played, and so it's been really great. So yeah, the utility meta was awesome. I'm not angry at the current meta either. I really like it. So we'll see where they take it next. I'm excited for the attacking operator switch, where you can still change your operator in the prep phase. I think that would be a very interesting change. Question by Prism: what's it like being poggers? I know this was a joke question. I'm going to give it a serious answer though. Um, Basically, it's an amazing feeling to be able to do what you love, um, which working on R6 Analyst is for sure. Like, I'm extremely fortunate to have an incredible work-life balance. I don't have to worry about like paying the bills at all. I can decide on my own work hours and what I'm working on. Um, yeah, I definitely don't take any of that for granted, and I count my lucky stars every day. It's really like it's kind of like winning the lottery, except appreciating that you worked really, really hard in order to win the lottery. Um, Building R6 Analyst in particular has been a really fun experience. Um, be- Mostly because of the instant feedback you get. Right, I launch a new feature and I instantly get, really sometimes really positive, sometimes really insightful feedback, um, and that just motivates me to keep working on the app more and more. It's just yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, my life's good at the moment. Those were all the questions. Um, Thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something new. If you have another question, feel free to jump into the Discord and ask. I'm also on Twitter, R6 Analyst app. I think that's pretty much it, right? Yeah, I'll see you next year, I guess, for the second anniversary, hopefully. Have a nice day.